Hello and welcome. So, August has many, many gifts for us when it comes to the grief journey and how we can look outside our window and tap into the energies and the qualities of the season and the month that we're in to give us some clues as to how to tend to our own inner worlds as well. So, August has this wonderful quality to it of fullness, of ripening, of maturing or maturation. And when we think about all of the wonderful fullness of life that August can provide to us, we can talk about or think about the fact that there are gifts that come along the way when we're working through grief. Now, these gifts are not shallow. Sometimes when we're moving through grief and when we've lost somebody or we're moving through a difficult journey, a lot of times other people will say, "Oh, isn't that just a gift?" Or, they try to bright side things or silver line things, put a silver lining around our difficult experiences. This is different than that. So that's annoying for sure. But what's not annoying is when you're a little bit further along the journey and you start to catch glimpses of some of these little gifts that happen. And these gifts that happen are more so related to our inner experience. And that inner experience, the gift that can be received by us, is the gift of transformation, the gift of evolution, and this gift of a lot deeper well of compassion and love. I'm not sure if this resonates with you, but if it does, you're probably one of these people that has moved through a really difficult experience, transition in their life. And you're starting to probably notice that, wow, I'm different. I'm a much different person than I was. And oftentimes, the grief journey can really give us the ability to tap into energies and to qualities in ourselves and in our experiences that we wouldn't have had access to had we not gone through that really painful experience. And so this month, I really want you to think about receptivity. That is the theme for this month is receptivity. It's opening our hearts to something different, to something deeper, to this sacred journey. Because if you're watching this video, chances are something like this resonates with you, where you are not the same person that you were before you went through this major loss or losses or lifetime. We are constantly changing and evolving and growing and learning and transforming if we're lucky. And my argument for this idea that there are gifts in grief, it isn't to say that the loss that you experienced or the losses that you have experienced are gifts. It's just simply not true. We would never give that gift to somebody else. But when we step back and when we're a little bit further along the journey, not right away. This doesn't happen right away because right away we're just lost. We are isolated. We are just in the experience. But as we learn and as we grow and as we create some distance between ourselves and that loss, we start to recognize that, wow, there have been some gifts that I have received. So for me, some examples of this would be, gosh, when I lost my brother Rollo, I was 23 years old. So that was 27 years ago. And then I lost my brother Scott 6 years later. So I was in my 20s when I had two very significant losses. And I had already had significant loss before this as well, in the form of extreme illness. When I was in that decade, nobody could have told me that I would be receiving gifts through this experience. I was just in it and I was miserable and I was suffering. And I didn't have very many grief tending tools. We didn't even talk about grief at that time. We just moved on and I suffered because of that. It took me many, 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 many years of gradual and intentional sort of like engagement with the grief journey for me to actually learn, wow, I have changed so much. I have grown into this person that has a much deeper well of compassion, unconditional love. And I know myself a whole lot better. Like I'm a lot more wise than I used to be. I have a greater perspective on life. So my lens, has shifted from kind of a narrow focus on myself to a broader focus on community and connection and belonging. And those are just some examples of the gifts that I have been able to start to receive from this work. So I will close this for now, but I really want you to think about, have you received any of these gifts? Has there been a little opening to the idea that there might be more to this grief journey than what we have been led to believe in our culture? Is there more to it than I moved through this really hard time, I put it, I tuck it in my back pocket, and I get on with my life? I think that there is a whole lot more. My life has been a testament to this fact that there's a whole lot more to this. If we move through our lifetime and we move through the losses in our lives in a conscious and intentional way, I believe that that sets us up to become the elders in our communities that others need to rely on or will rely on. We need elders in our communities that have been through some really difficult things and they have consciously engaged with the process. And they've come out of that experience a much more thoughtful person, a much more compassionate person, and a much more loving and kind person. So that's it for now. I encourage you to think about the grief gifts that you have been receiving. And if you're not quite there yet in your grief journey, please just tuck this in your back pocket, and this will be something for later. Okay, here with you.